Your Excellency, President Yoweri Museveni, Your Excellencies, the heads of government, heads of state and governments, Your Excellencies, the leaders of the delegations here present, colleague ministers here present, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors and leaders of international organizations, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my humble duty to summarize for you in the form of a Kampala Declaration what you've been saying in the course of this morning. So what I'm reading is a Kampala Declaration, a product of the second edition of the G-25 Africa Coffee Summit held today, 8th of August, 2023, here in Kampala, in Uganda. It reads as follows. We, the heads of state and governments of the 25 African coffee-producing countries, convened for the second edition of the G25 Africa Coffee Summit in Kampala, Uganda, on the 8th of August 2023, under the theme, Transforming the Africa Coffee Sector through Value Addition, to marshal support for integrating coffee as a strategic agricultural commodity in the African Union in harmony with African Union Agenda 2063. This will give Africa the leverage to address the challenges associated with value addition. Concerned that whilst Africa is the birthplace of both Arabica and Robusta coffee, it only produces 12% of the overall worldwide production. That coffee production and productivity in Africa producing countries remains consistently low. Noting the inequality in the coffee value chain, in particular the global annual value of revenue from coffee in 2023 amounts to US dollars 495.50 billion, whilst total revenue in Africa amounts to only 0.6%, which is roughly 2.8 billion US dollars. Recognizing that the 99% of African coffee is exported in raw form, resulting into the loss of economic benefits associated with value addition, thus depriving the continent of jobs and colossal sums of revenue earnings, reaffirming that the African continent free trade area to which we are parties creates a single African market that facilitates the 25 African coffee producers to trade freely with other African Union member countries. This will assist in the integrated trade of coffee among African coffee producing and consuming countries, underscoring the impending threat of climate change on the coffee production and the urgent need to invest in research and development of varieties which are resilient to harsher climatic conditions and resistant to coffee pests and diseases, we now here agree to 1. Support research in coffee value addition to enable innovation and development of new products, generate new knowledge on best practices, improved technologies, and studies on various resilient to harsher climatic conditions, pests, and diseases. 2, support investment in value addition of coffee and its products and promote domestic coffee consumption. 3, agree to vocational training in coffee for the youth and women for job creation. And 4, agree to enhance access to finance for coffee value addition projects through the AU/Africa Africa Continental Free Trade Area framework and institutions, which include the African Development Bank, African Export-Import Bank, and African Coffee Facility Fund. We now therefore request that 1, the African Union, Assembly of Heads of State and Government, endorse the inclusion of coffee as a strategic commodity in the EU Agenda 2063 at the next AU Assembly. 2, we request that the Inter-Africa Coffee Organization is appointed as an AU designated agency responsible for coffee to work with the African Union Commission and member states on the effective transformation of the coffee value chain in Africa as part of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area strategy on boosting intra-Africa agricultural trade. 3, we request that the African Continental Free Trade Area private sector strategy that anchors the development of regional value chains prioritizes coffee value addition as a key deliverable in the aforementioned strategy. And finally, 4, request that the African Development Bank and the African Export and Import Bank provide dedicated financial resources to boost coffee production and enhance coffee value addition. We finally undertake to organize the 3rd edition of the G-25 Africa Coffee Summit in Tanzania in 2024, signed by His Honorable Frank Tumebase, host minister and Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries of Uganda, and the chairman, Honorable Dr. Girma Amente, chairman of the Inter-Africa Coffee Organization and Minister of Agriculture of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, done in both English and French.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Kampala Declaration is being signed by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, with the Chairman of the Inter-African Coffee Organization, and is being witnessed by none other than the Secretary General of the Inter-African Coffee Organization and the Managing Director, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, and the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, here witnessed by the Foreign Affairs Minister of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Jeje Odongo. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. This is the Kampala Declaration. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, Chairman. And now I want to request Your Excellencies, just before we close, there will be a photo session, but we'll have the anthems in reverse order, and then we'll have the photo session, and the protocol team will guide Their Excellencies for the photo session. May I now request, ladies and gentlemen, that we be upstanding for the anthems. Excellencies and our heads of delegation, you will be ushered by protocol teams, and I do request as you make your way to the photo area, you will have a mask on, or a mask will be provided for you. As you get to the booth, somebody will be able to provide you a mask as you get to the booth. Please, protocol teams, handle our delegates. I request that the delegates remain in the room with the exception of our heads of mission and heads of delegations who are making their way, including our honorable ministers. Our honorable ministers, you'll also make your way. I'll also request the Secretary General of IACO and the Managing Director, UCDA, and the PSFU to join the stakeholders who are taking the photos. Protocol teams will handle the photo session. And please only be guided by the protocol team on your way there. A mask will be provided. We request our other delegates to remain in the tent. Delegates, you will remain in the tent. We will show you the pictures from the photo session, and please remain in the tent as we usher our delegates, our heads of delegation and their excellencies for this photo session. There'll only be 2 photos, and thereafter, dear delegates, we will be ushered to lunch, so please do stay with us in the tent.
Roasters and baristas, like passionate artists, treat Uganda's coffee as their canvas. They carefully extract its essence, revealing the hidden notes of chocolate, spices, and fruits. With every carefully crafted brew, they tell the story of Uganda's coffee, allowing its character to shine through and tantalize the coffee lovers' taste buds around the world.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll allow the excellencies to make their way. And as soon as they do that, both the exhibition area and also the tent below the garden where we are will be availed for lunch, and your protocol teams and also the ushers will be guiding you, ladies and gentlemen, to the tent for lunch.